everybody, and welcome to my review of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. This will be the spoiler-free review. I'll probably do a spoiler review coming up next, but for now, no spoilers here. So this is, of course, the concluding chapter to the 9-part Skywalker saga that began all the way back in 1977. And, well, yeah, look, this movie answers a lot of the questions that have been left by The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, so it pretty much wraps all that up. The plot, without giving anything away, I'm only going to reveal stuff that's been referenced in the trailers, so that's all I'll really mention. But, so we all know that the Emperor is back, and Rey basically is still trying to figure out who she is and where she came from. So, yeah, the Emperor's back, and everyone has to try and stop him. Like, that's really the plot of the movie. Now, let me just say, I'm actually really glad this movie exists, because I've been, you know, as a film critic, even though I don't really feel like I am, I keep going through this thing, like, I really like The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, okay? I'm one of these people that I found The Force Awakens to be a really good, fun adventure. It introduced some cool new characters to the Star Wars mythology. I liked The Last Jedi because it was bold, it did things that we hadn't seen before, and I dug it. But obviously those movies have received such a backlashing from so many people, and sometimes I wrestle with this idea of maybe it's my Star Wars bias coming through, because it is really difficult to review a movie that you love so deeply, or, you know, a franchise that you love so deeply, without letting some degree of bias come in. And so the whole time I've been kind of thinking maybe that had something to do with my love for those films, but I can genuinely say that no, it doesn't, because, you know, I wanted to like The Rise of Skywalker, but it is a terrible movie. From the opening crawl, I was sitting there dumbfounded, because it's just, it gives you a large amount of information that should have been part of the plot. It just basically, bang, says what's going on, which you sort of thought, well, shouldn't we have seen this stuff happening? So the opening crawl came and went. I was like, okay, that's fine, you know, so the opening crawl sucks. Here we go, it's gonna be good. And then the first act was so choppy and rushed and rapid, and I was honestly sitting there just thinking to myself, like, can this movie please slow down? Aside from the fact that it just darts from scene to scene so quickly, the dialogue was irritating. You've got a whole bunch of characters that are just kind of bickering with each other and stuff, but the lines are so short and succinct that there's no natural flow of dialogue. It's just like bam, 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 and you're like, guys, just, you know, just poetry and dialogue. Let it flow. Just shut the fuck up. And then, yeah, look, from there on, the movie just got progressively worse. And my main gripe with this film is that I didn't feel anything. Even the prequels, for all of their flaws and problems and criticisms, at least they had moments that I genuinely felt something. I mean, you know, Revenge of the Sith, Anakin turning and, you know, turning on Obi-Wan and fighting, like, okay, it was done with really bad wooden dialogue and stuff, but just the core concept, the theme of these two best friends turning on each other and, you know, things like that were emotional. This movie gave me nothing, absolutely nothing. I mean, there are key moments in this film, and if you've seen it, you'll know what I mean, that, you know, I really should have felt something as a lifelong Star Wars fan, but I didn't. There were a whole bunch of characters that were introduced for no real reason. Kerry Russell's character, whose name I don't even know, she seemed pretty useless. The new droid, Dio, seriously, think about the movie without him in it and nothing changes. And even Lando was just completely pointless. Like, there were so many things that were just shoehorned into this movie, including a few surprises that were just shoehorned in just for fan service. That's the thing. This movie, you could tell how much they were in damage control over the backlash that was received by The Last Jedi. They just tried to put in all these things that they thought, well, you know, if we can't really sort of save this new trilogy, we'll just put in a bunch of stuff that will tweak the nostalgia in people and they will love it. But yeah, I didn't. And aside from all that, everybody in this movie was just way too powerful. You know, Rey is sort of reaching her peak of her Jedi stuff, but the things that she can do in this movie, I mean, they introduce new force powers that we've never seen before. Like, why? You know, like, I know it's addressed that these powers have not been seen for thousands of generations or whatever, but there just seemed no point in suddenly putting them into this movie now. There's even one character who is now all of a sudden force sensitive, and there's just no reason. The only two characters that I really thought sort of went through any change from start to finish were Rey and Kylo Ren. Everybody else, Poe Dameron, Finn, Rose, like everyone we've met before, basically finish off the same way they started. I'd love to say that at least the glue holding it all together was John Williams' score, as it is with every other film. I mean, the prequels, Duel of the Fates, you know, this guy gave us some of the most iconic Star Wars themes from some of the worst of the Star Wars films, you know, if you consider them that way. But this movie, it just sort of seemed like he was just rehashing themes from previous films too much. Like, you know, there were a lot of key moments in the film that just replayed old themes, so I don't know, there was nothing really new there. And a lot of the film just bordered on the ridiculous to me. There were just so many things that were just kind of like, why is this really happening? You know, yeah, it was just a poorly crafted film. That's probably all I can really go into as far as a spoiler-free review. I will do a spoiler video because obviously there's a lot of people who want to talk more about it. If you're going to drop comments down below discussing this film, and if you are going to put spoilers, make sure you put a spoiler heading on there, and you know, maybe leave a few lines so people don't read it. Yeah, because yeah, I know there's going to be a lot of people who are going to want to talk about it, and that's fine. But, yeah, I hope you guys liked it more than I did. So, yeah, look, as far as I'm concerned, this movie was worse than Attack of the Clones. Yeah, Attack of the Clones is no longer the worst of the saga films to me. I mean, you know, things I did like about it, like, some of the performances were okay. The movie, it did look good in parts, you know, that was alright. I like Babu Frick, the little guy that we've seen in the trailer. He was pretty cool. But look, overall, yeah, this is the first of the saga films that I don't have any desire to see again. I just don't really care about it enough. And yeah, it really pains me to say this, but I'm going to give Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, a 3 out of 10. So there you go. That's what I thought of this movie that I really, really wanted to like, but just in the end, I couldn't. One thing I do want to say though is a really big thank you to the staff of Event Cinemas Pacific Fair. If any of you guys are watching, not only for putting on such an amazing night, like the whole party before the midnight screening and everything was so much fun, but also for really looking after me and my friends. Yeah, that was really generous of you guys, and yeah, just really want to thank you a lot for that. Yeah, the night overall was actually a lot of fun, you know, despite that movie. And so over to you guys, if you have seen Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, let me know what you thought of it, and I really hope you guys liked it more than I did. And once again, if you're going to put any spoilers into your post, just make sure you put a little heading above it, just so, you know, you don't want to spoil the movie for people. So drop me some comments either here, Facebook, or Twitter. All the social media links are in the description below, because I like to talk about movies, and I would love to talk about movies with you. Catch you next time.
Click subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest movie reviews. Skynet will be taking over any day now, so what have you got to lose? Nyah.